because you got some young dudes that come in there built like the Michelin Man, and then you got a that's 57, 62, can do 100 push-ups straight, run around that whole rick yard non-stop.
I would ask, normally a young man out here in the world has his mother. He has that nurturing aspect of a mother who will take care of him and kind of raise him to go off in the free world. Is there any type of nurturing aspect in prison as far as whether through a nurse, whether through female guards, anyone to replace technically the way someone's mother would nurture you? Is there any aspect of that in prison?
It's a lot of that in prison. I'll never take that away from it. Even when you sitting in a cell and you don't have a cellmate and you don't have a guard walking by. If you are somebody who done experienced somebody dying and you know what it is to lean over and kiss the forehead of a dead body, those memories of that person is what's gonna guide you through that darkness. Cause when you in solitary confinement, ain't nobody to talk to you but the dead. Only thing to keep you focused is your memories. So it's always gonna be some form of nurturing throughout this universe that's gonna come to you. You got a lot of cats who grew up without a father, so when they go up in there, they find somebody who take pity on them. Whether it be an old dude who look at you and say, man, he too small, he too weak. He gonna take you on this wing. Not cause he wants some booty, he want a dick sucker, he wanna write your mama, hook up with your sister. It's just that he who been around so long to where he know he did wrong. So the least he could do is try to help another get it right. So it's always gonna be a certain nurturing effect going on as long as you're in there. But a lot of people miss out on that because when young gets surrounded by young, it's a reputation hunting thing. It's a recognition thing going on. And see, our old don't give a about who know what about him, how they firm or none of that shit. Because an old man can sit back and see a young nigga come through the door, homie, and that nigga can have a mean boxing game. And some people feel like the nigga who fight the hardest is the nigga who the most feared and who gonna run the block. The nigga who fight the hardest ain't never been a nigga who called all the shots and ran the block. It's the nigga who got the sharpest mind that can think through the game. Because you ain't never bigger than the program. You can take a nigga with one arm in prison and he'll take out a nigga who can fight hard in the bitch with both arms and both legs. Why? Because the weakest ain't always the scariest. And see, it ain't about strength in all circumstances, except for when you're dealing with the young people. That's where weight plays a factor. But in a real sense, dealing with real men, they don't give a about that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that boy Finesse say, if you got killers, so what? If it's between me or them, I give no and that's just what that is on that. But for some who really, all they know is that battlefield to where they've been taught that the bigger my muscles, the harder I hit. Say, homie, that work for them. But for a who conscious, that don't mean a bitch ass thing.
Yeah. What is considered old in prison as far as what age or what amount of time for someone to consider an old nigga?
What's considered old in prison? If I had to give you an honest opinion, man, I would say when you classify it as old in prison, man, it's when you have nobody to talk to. You're not gambling. You sit back, you sweeping that floor, you mopping that floor. You the nigga that's gonna know every thing because they gonna underestimate you. Because you never move your lips. You have no reason to have enemies because you don't make none. You don't talk to nobody. When people look at you, the least you do is point this way or point that way and you get back to doing what you're doing. That's a sign of being old in prison because you inactive. You literally looked at as the walking dead in that.
So does it go by the amount of time you spend? Like, for example, somebody who's been in there for 12 years and 32 years old, but they've been in there for 12 years, right, versus somebody that's been in there for 2 years and they're 45. You get what I'm saying? Like, which one is either, are you considered old if you just been in that forever?
Now you're not considered old if you've been in there forever, man. Because you got some young dudes that come in there built like the Michelin Man. And then you got a nigga that's 57, 62, can do 100 push-ups straight, run around that whole rick yard nonstop. And then you catch some young, they can't even play one half game of basketball, you hear me? So it depends on when you're looking at old, exactly how you defining the old. From a physical standpoint or from a psychological standpoint. you know. Now, if you mean from a physical standpoint, then age ain't gonna mean you're old. Cause there's some old niggas in there who outlast a young nigga in that paint. It's an old that's gonna get it over with quicker. Cause he been fighting for it the longest, and he already know he been shooting a shot that he landed in 1,000 years. He can shoot that blindly. You know what I'm saying? And you be like, damn, how school do that? Man, that's that same punch that nigga been shooting since he been in this bitch, man. That nigga know that like the back of his hand. And he gonna land it every time. But then you got some dudes that's young come up in there, and they just not built for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Cause a lot of dudes out here in these streets, man, and it's just a reality, bro. When you young and you walk around carrying a gun all day and you ain't got enough time to do them push-ups, man. You ain't got enough time to punch that punching bag because you thinking 12 shots and 32 shots gonna make you equivalent to a like me or somebody else. That's where that misconception come in, man. Because the thing about having a gun is you gotta see the threat when the threat is made. And a lot of don't see it. So therefore, what good do it do to have 1,000 guns and 1,000 bullets, man? You don't even know a nigga coming for you. Cause in your mind, you ain't did shit, but the slightest thing could have tipped him out and he on his way. So that don't mean shit, man. So when you operating in prison, old is when you done stepped over there, man. And when I say over there, that means you not in the day room. You ain't got no mail coming. You all the way shut down, inactive. People can look at you and they know you ain't got shit to offer. They know you don't talk. They know you ain't got nothing to say. It's just like point this way and point that way, man. And I done seen an old dude when I sat back, cause I really didn't like being around young niggas when I was locked up. Why? Because nigga, you just got here like me. I gotta be around these old cause I wanna know the way out this. It's some around this been here 10, 15 years, man. They can tell you about all the laws, all the weaknesses and everything in this. That's why they initiated a program while I was in prison. After you've been in one spot for so long, it's mandatory they ship you to another one because they understand that ain't always dumb as they think. Some people sitting back mastering this day in, day out, day in, day out. And in the whole process of they stay, they cultivating officers. Officers do one thing and it's drop their guard while dealing with them. Cause as soon as you turn a blind eye, I might got action. So they know we got to move you around. And see, I was one of them people who sat back and just looked around that bitch, man. So I never got embraced by a bunch of young dudes because I feel like you had nothing to offer me. Right. I had to surround myself by old dudes who sit back and talk. And then being around them, I sit back and look at the who wasn't doing nothing. I always came through. You can literally watch this mop from side to side. And you can damn near count. It's like it's program, protocol. He'll never go fast or slow. It'll be that same mop. It's same mop. And see, that's what make a like that dangerous too. Because that's the who cruising through here, everybody seeing, and he see everybody, but that will make him slick because you seeing, but you don't see what he doing. Because it takes skill to come through and slang that mop. Same coordination like this right here. Because if this arm is steady moving like this here, that's giving him time to do what? Look this way, listen that way. All the while that mop moving. See, I learned that shit, man. That's why that's why it's like a comprehension and a gross psychological impact on when you really paying attention, man. The less you talk, the more you listen, the more you see, the more you'll really see.